Can I add antifreeze to my pool to stop the water from freezing? Surprisingly, this is a pretty common question, and the answer is definitely no. That's not how this works. You don't need to stop the pool water from freezing for the winter. And further to that, if you're like, no, I want to stop the water from freezing for whatever reason, the volume of antifreeze that you need would be destructive to the swimming pool, and you would never want to swim in that water again. So, again, the answer is definitely no. You do not add antifreeze to the pool body of water itself. You might use some for, let's say filling up a skimmer or the body of an automatic water leveler, because those are really sensitive parts of the pool that specifically can have problems with freezing water. Typically speaking, even in very cold areas, like I'm located in Ontario, Canada, and we'll have, minus 30 or minus 40 sometimes in the dead of winter. Pools here don't add antifreeze to the water to stop it from freezing. So it's not something that you need to do. But there are things that, there's something to be said about problems that can happen from freezing water across the surface of your pool. The logic is not flawed in thinking that you need to do something here. You don't really. As I said, the pools here, typically speaking, don't take any precautions to stop the water from freezing. But I have heard of some pools which experience problems with freezing water. Let's say you have tiles or something like that. That can kind of be a problem. If you have a full tile pool and it's located outside in a freezing climate, you can pretty often deal with some damage to the tiles. And in the same way that you add a gizmo to the skimmer, which is essentially an empty bottle, and so when the water freezes in the skimmer, it crushes the bottle instead of expanding outwards and blowing out the side walls of your skimmer, you can kind of do something similar to your swimming pool by adding jugs of antifreeze, or like let's say you had a large jug, like a 4 liter or 1 gallon jug. Fill it halfway with antifreeze so that it's neutrally buoyant in the water, partially above the surface of the water and partially below the surface of the water. And you have that filled with antifreeze such that it won't freeze when the rest of your pool does. Essentially what that does is, as the surface of the water freezes, instead of expanding outwards and putting pressure on the walls of your pool, it will expand inwards on these bottles. Let's say you used a half dozen or so in an average swimming pool. That would effectively work as something to prevent the ice from damaging the walls of your pool. It used to be in olden times that people would use things like logs, just throw a bunch of logs into your pool, or maybe float a couple of inner tubes around, something like that. But those aren't methods that I would endorse. I say that you don't really need to do anything, but supposing that your unique situation requires that you do something to prevent from ice damage to whatever extent you can, the method I've just mentioned with using jugs of antifreeze half filled so they're neutrally buoyant is the best method I would recommend. If you found this information helpful, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can check out my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com.